Boom, boom, boom. Another one bites the dust. Boom, boom, boom. Another one bites the dust. And another one bites the dust. Hi, everybody. Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? Welcome. Have you liked and subscribed yet? Yes or no? I love Andrew Cuomo. Oh, yeah. In before the poll a couple of years, which is nutty of you. Crazy of you. Nutty of you. Crazy of you. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Bring the flavor to the flesh. Sorry, bring the flavor to the fish. Bring the flavor to the rice now. Good morning, New York, New York. What did I just do?
Bring the flavor to the fish, bring the flavor.
Oh shit, I don't have my fucking headset in. Whoops. I don't want to hear about you gooning, you sick fucks.
Bring the flavor to the fish, bring the flavor to the rice. Who's the number one spice? Who's the number one spice? Bring the flavor to the fish, bring the flavor to the rice. Who's the number one spice? Oh, you got a pity? Oh, you got a nice? Okay, so what you can market with good price. Who's the number one spice? Who's the number one spice?
Bro, the way that the Republicans pumped this one out thinking this would turn the people against Zoran is unreal. It's unreal, dude. Fucking Charlie Kirk posted this video on his Twitter and was like, look at who they have. Look, his mother filmed this. That's sick as fuck. This is Zoran, bro, from 8 years ago, bro. This is Zoran 8 years ago.
Bring the flavor to the fish, bring the flavor to the rice.
I think his name was Young Cardamom, bro. His rap name was Young Cardamom.
Bring the flavor to the fish, bring the flavor to the rice. Who's the number one spice?
That's our mirror! That's my boy!
Who's the number one spice? Oh, you got a pity? Oh, you got a nice? Okay, so what you can market with good price. Who's the number one spice? Who's the number one spice?
Is that Lupita Nyong'o? Is that Lupita Nyong'o? Or am I insanely racist? That's Lupita fucking Nyong'o. That's Lupita Nyong'o. That's like one of the best actors of all time.
This is the number one spice. Eat in the morning and roll like a dice. Mama told me this once and I'm telling you twice.
I went to school with Lupita Nyong'o's nephew. I went to acting school with Lupita Nyong'o's nephew. Bro, that kid one day, that kid, Austin, if you ever see this, how you doing, buddy? But I'll never fucking forgive you for this, Austin. You got to see that Avengers movie way before everybody else, because you got to go to the early screening with your cousin, with Lupita. And you motherfucker, you came back and told everyone, you go, yeah, Iron Man dies. Why are you telling me this? Let me see the movie. Also, Austin, I'm sure Lupita was not allowed to tell you that, or tell anyone that, and you fucking told people, you son of a bitch.
I love the very, I love the nice. Some me I hate water, but I love spice. So by you see me, I story with a voice. Say, but don't pass rules out to me. Sirina sente bossy munyambe. Hey, muno munyo go vamo wesho mawale katwe. Bossy, kare munange. Nyamba, now we yummy. Ha, now we yummy. Yeah. Bring the flavor to the fish, bring the flavor to the rice. The number one spice, the number one spice. Bring the flavor to the fish, bring the flavor to the rice. The number one spice.
Oyagala mere, oyagala nice. Okay, so kwa joki marketing to work good price.
I'ma do this all my life. Got you now when you come back chat to the night.
Man, soon I'ma live in the city with the lights.
With the lights? That's right. With the lights? That's right. The spice to you is a means to me. Selling even if the price is misery. Same story in the Salt Lake vis-a-vis.
I'll fucking take the copyright strike.
In the sun like a movie. Box looks at me and says, Toko Musubi. Siwa Musubi. Ninamunji.
Bro, it goes so hard.
Cause everybody's family, man, even Gundi.
Too many dreams to Jakenda Mumaso. Ndaba tu senanga tulina kuliata. Wake up looking in the sky, see viroto some stories be known by Nyumya Kuchodo. 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 Kuchodo.
Ah. Obiri mama. Urira ndongo. Motoko urira.
I take up bitchin'. I take Chigali.
This is Zoran, bro, back when he went by Young Cardamom. He's a rapper. Can we get some Kampalas in the chat? Tell your cat I said pss, 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 pss. There's our boy, and look at him now. There is our boy. My boy! Look at my boy! Look at my son! Oh! That was a great way to start the stream. What's the highest government position immigrant can have? Cabinet? Bro, an immigrant can be the fucking, I think all the way up to the vice president. Because you have to be born in the United States in order to be the president, so you can't be the vice president if you weren't born in the United States. Because if the president resigns or is taken out, then you have to take over. So I'm assuming literally all the way up to the vice presidency. That's what I would assume. What the fuck is this? Supreme Court rules for South Carolina in its bid to defund Planned Parenthood. You've got to be fucking kidding me, bro. Speaker, actually, you need to be a citizen to be vice president, but how... Wait, you need to be a citizen? Yeah, no, but you also need to be born in the United States, because you can't be the president unless you were born in the United States, and the VP's job is to take over the presidency, right? So there's no shot. Yep, 6-3, just like always, because Trump actually handpicked the Supreme Court, and now the Supreme Court doesn't mean anything. That's what I meant, natural-born citizen, sorry. Okay, yeah, it makes sense. The Supreme Court on Thursday ruled for South Carolina in its effort to defund Planned Parenthood, concluding that individual Medicaid patients cannot sue to enforce their right to pick a medical provider. The court held in a 6-3 ruling along the ideological lines with the conservative justices in the majority and the federal law in question that the federal law in question does not allow people who are enrolled in the Medicaid program to file such claims against the Senate. Quote, Congress knows how to give a grantee clear and unambiguous notice that if it accepts federal funds, it may face private suits asserting an individual right to choose a medical provider. But he added, that's not the law we have. Federal funding for abortion is already banned, but conservatives have long targeted Planned Parenthood, which provides reproductive health services, including abortions, where allowed for any funding it receives, even if it is for other healthcare-related services. Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Dude, South Carolina's a dog shit state. People need to, like, mass exodus Republican states. Like, verbatim, dude. You want a good life? Come to New York City, bro. We're about to elect a fucking socialist as the mayor. And here's the thing. This is the thing about the conservatives, is they accuse everybody of what they're actually doing. So while there's going to be a mass exodus from red states and people are running for their fucking lives, they're going to be accusing New York City of being some, like, Islamic caliphate. Thank you for the $1 donation. And also, I am fanning those flames. I'm being such a little fuck. Let me pull it up on TikTok to show you.
Can't stop thinking about the time.
Let me show you. Valenti videos. I'm being such a little fucking bastard, bro. Am I gonna get copyright strikes for this? Probably. Let me sing it for you. Wake me up! Wake me up inside! I can't wake up! Wake me up and say, man, oh, I need... So that's what that one is. Yeah. Thank you, Chrissy. You're welcome. Looks like Ayatollah Khamenei has come out. Iran's supreme leader breaks silence after Operation Midnight Hammer. Speaking of, it's time for breakfast. It's time for breakfast. Fake news reporters from CNN and the New York Times should be fired immediately. Bad people with evil intentions. The NATO summit yesterday was great, the most unified and productive in history. A wonderful day with incredible and caring leaders. They agreed to give 5%. They agreed to 5% gives NATO real power. What the fuck? Oh, the agreed to 5% gives NATO real power. My bad. That's my bad because I'm a stupid foobie idiot. The cars and small trucks at the site were those of concrete workers trying to cover up the top of the shafts. Nothing was taken out of facility. It would take too long, too dangerous, and very heavy and hard to move. One of the greatest, most professional, and most confirming news conferences I've ever seen. The fake news should fire everyone involved in this witch hunt and apologize to our great warriors and everyone else. News conference on now. Watch it. Rumor is that the failing New York Times and fake news CNN will be firing the reporters who made up the fake stories on the Iran nuclear test because they got it wrong. Let's see what happens. Brother, you are the rumor. Brother, what? You made that rumor. That's the stupidest shit I ever heard. That's the type of shit you hear in fucking 7th grade, bro. This is the type of shit you hear in 7th grade. That's like being, going up to the girl you have a crush on going, rumor has it that somebody in class has a crush on you. I don't know who it is, but I'm sure he's very handsome and rich. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Who knows? See you later. Fake news CNN is so disgusting and incompetent. Some of the dumbest anchors in the business.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth will hold a Pentagon briefing to set the record straight about the successful U.S. strike on Iran's nuclear facilities. Meanwhile, Iran's supreme leader delivering a video message for the first time since the ceasefire with Israel took hold. Watch.
All right, Alexandria Hoff is live at the White House with the latest. Hey, Alex.
Hey, good to be with you. Yeah, this debate over damage is really about...
Yeah, I saw him with the bomb, Iran. Bum, 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 Iran. Dude, if any other president in American history ever did something of the sort, they would have been removed from office that fucking day, bro. Like, I don't ever want to hear anybody ever tell me that Donald Trump is not a warmonger ever again.
How long has Iran's nuclear program been set back by 30,000-pound bombs?
Like 45 minutes.
That were dropped on it. Now, you have CIA Director John Ratcliffe stating this, quote, CIA can confirm that a body of credible evidence indicates Iran's nuclear program has been severely damaged by the...
Severely damaged? Hold on a minute. Severely damaged is starkly different than what Trump said, because what Trump said is totally obliterated. Brother, if somebody if somebody was to call me up and was like, yo, bro, dude, your car, and I go, what happened to my car? And they go, your car, bro, it's totally obliterated. Do you understand what I would assume? I would assume there's no car. The car's gone. You just said it's been totally obliterated. So in my eyes, it's been vaporized. You know what I'm saying? And then I show up and my car's there. I go, what? And then you go, yeah, man, like I said, it's been severely damaged. I'd go, brother, what? You said my car was totally obliterated. What the fuck are we talking about?
The recent targeted strikes. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard adding, if the Iranians chose to rebuild, they would have to rebuild all three facilities entirely, which would likely take years to do. At the NATO summit, President Trump continued to push back on a preliminary assessment that claimed that Iran's nuclear program was set back by only a few months. A source familiar to the matter tells Fox that assessment was based off of 1 day's worth of reporting. The president added yesterday that additional evidence has been collected from Iran's underground facility Fordow by, quote, people going to the site.
There are numerous of those reports, and they're coming out fast.
Chris, stop tweaking, man, and calm down. All that nicotine is getting to your brain.
Is that my antithesis talking to me? Is that Vis Crelenti? Vris Crelenti? That's the craziest shit that I ever did here.
And furious, but the most respected ones we've already seen. I guess you're going to be having over the next couple of days we're going to encapsulate it. But no, the site was obliterated, just like I said it was. And just like the pilots should be given credit for.
Maybe.
The White House.
Hold on a minute. Chatter says, maybe America doesn't get to be the arbiter of who does and doesn't have nuclear technology.
Did you say arbiter? Ba-ba-ba-bum, 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 bum, ba-da-da-da, ba-ba-ba-bum.
The House now wants to limit classified information being shared with Congress. That's a sign of where it thinks the preliminary assessment leak came from. Here's the president's deputy attorney general on charging that leaker.
I mean, absolutely. Of course we're ready. You better believe, and the American people better know for sure, that this is exactly the type of conduct that we will investigate fully, whether it's treasonous and whether someone will be charged with treason.
Sir, security camera.
Listen, we'll work that out, but you better believe that the Department of Justice is going to do everything we can to find out.
All right, let's see. Oh, do you guys want to hear something crazy, Jacob? You guys will never find this, but I used to be really big on Vine. I looked entirely different. I was much younger. I was like, I don't know, 13. I was pretty damn big on Vine, and I had some pop-off Vines, and they were horrendous. Prove it right now. No. Go find it. Big as in followers or size? What the fuck, me? What the fuck? Dude, are you my self-consciousness? Actually? Like, are you personified self-consciousness, you sick fuck? Alright, we gotta see, Crazy Uncle Pete's, speech. What? Yo, 130 Iranians arrested by ICE this past week? Huh? Oh, wait, we didn't get to see the Ayatollah. We didn't get to see the
Less than an
Ayatollah.
hour.
Wait, we didn't get to see the Ayatollah. Where are you?
An Iran Supreme Leader making an address this morning on state TV. He claimed on X simultaneously that the U.S. entered the war to save Israel, but, quote, achieved nothing.
Are they not going to play it?
He also was boasting about the fact that...
Dude, Fox News is... That's not news. How can that even be allowed? How can that even be allowed, bro? Oh, my God. Now I gotta pull up I gotta find the video myself. Where is it? Where are you, Mr. Ayatollah? Mr. Ayatollah Khamenei, I need to hear you speak. Oh, it's the Ayatollah Khamenei. I need to hear you. I need to hear you speak right now. It was posted on the Discord. Is this it?
Bringing you now the statement from Iran's Supreme Leader, his first one since the end of...
No, here's the thing, guys. If we want to end this war immediately, we got to send like 7 or 8 fat-ass white girls that are corn-fed with a southern twang. And just, that'll end it. He'll end up patriotic.
Of the conflict with Israel. Let's listen to it.
The Zionist entity has been swaying under our blows. They would have never imagined to have been dealt these blows, but yet this is what had happened. We thank God Almighty for assisting our armed forces, enabled them to penetrate the multi-layers of defense set up by the enemies.
Okay, now I think I'm starting to understand why Fox News kind of just like recapped it. Ayatollah, you're kind of hard to listen to, my guy. You gotta learn how to give a speech. Like, dead-ass verbatim. Dead-ass on God. Dead-ass on God. On God, on Jah. Dude, look how demented Pete Hegseth looks. He's such a fucking nut. Let's see.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is on the defensive today. He held a news conference about the scale of U.S. strikes on Iran and seemed frustrated about a leaked early assessment, which estimated that Iran's nuclear program was only set back by a matter of months. That's in direct conflict with the president's claim that 3 key Iranian nuclear facilities were obliterated. Hegseth spent most of the news conference slamming the media for its reporting. He and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff stuck to the claim that the U.S. strikes on Iran destroyed their nuclear ambitions. Here's part of what he had to say.
President Trump directed the most complex and secretive military operation in history, and it was a resounding success.
The most complex and secretive military operation in history, Pete? Are you out of your fucking mind? Are you out of your fucking mind, bro? Do you know how long human history has been? Shut the fuck up.
Resulting in a ceasefire agreement and the end of the 12-day war. There's been a lot of discussion about what happened and what didn't happen. Step back for a second. Because of decisive military action, President Trump created the conditions to end the war, decimating.
Let me say one thing, just to explain something. The most complex and secretive military operation of all time, you don't know of it. Why? Because it's the most complex, successful, secret military operation of all time.
Choose your word, obliterating, destroying Iran's nuclear capabilities. We know how historic it was. The chairman does. I know. Our staffs know. And so that's why we are, and the President of the United States knows.
President of the United States! The President of the United States!
It's almost personal when we see the way in which leaks are used to try to disparage the outcome or muddy the waters about the impact of what happened without being responsible with information and allowing the professionals to assess and provide that information just like the chairman did. When you leak a portion of an intelligence assessment, but just a little portion, just a little portion that makes it seem
They're leaking just a little portion.
like maybe the strike wasn't effective, then you start a news cycle, whether it's the Washington Post or Fox News or CNN or MSNBC, you start a news cycle that starts to call into question the efficacy. No, that's why. So you bring the chairman here, who's not involved in politics. He didn't do politics. That's my lane to understand and translate and talk about those types of things. So I can use the word obliterated. He could use defeat, destroyed, assess, all of those things. But ultimately, we're here to clarify what these weapons are capable of, which anyone with, two eyes, some ears, and a brain can recognize that.
Dude, this guy's a nutcase. This guy is unhinged.
That kind of firepower with that specificity at that location and others is going to have a devastating effect.
All right, we have team coverage on the Secretary's remarks. Standing by right now is CBS News White House reporter Olivia Rinaldi and
Dude,
CBS
Pete
News
is crashing out a little bit.
Big, momentous moments get missed. What President Trump accomplished in NATO yesterday was game-changing and historic. A shift in burden sharing to European responsibility in NATO that most would have said was impossible at the beginning of his term. But he said NATO needs to pay up. They started in the first term, and here in his second term, we've accelerated that. 32 NATO countries committed to spending 5% of their GDP on defense, on actually investing in the NATO alliance. So I hope with all the ink spilled, all of your outlets find the time to properly recognize this historic change in continental security that other presidents tried to do, other presidents talked about. President Trump accomplished it. It's a huge deal. You see, we're here this morning because in hunting for scandals all the time, in trying to find wedges and spin stories, this press corps and the press corps miss historic moments. You miss historic moments like 5%.
You're not covering Daddy good enough. You guys are being very mean to Daddy, and I won't have it. Your job is to write stories that paint the Führer in a good light. And I'm tired of this.
At NATO, which when you hear, I was in the closed-door briefing. I wish there could have been cameras in there. When you heard the prime ministers and presidents of other countries, to a man and to a woman, looking at President Trump and saying, this never could have happened. Never would have happened. It seemed impossible 5 years ago, 2 years ago, 8 years ago. But here we are because of your leadership. If you ask them the question, I bet they'd say the same thing. But searching for scandals, you miss historic moments, like recruiting at the Pentagon. Historic levels in the Army, the Air Force, and the Navy. Yeah, maybe there'll be a little mention here or there, but because it was under President Trump's leadership.
Brother, increased recruitment levels into the military is a sign of poverty levels increasing in your nation. Unironically. The more desperate people are, the poorer they are, the more likely they are to turn to military contracts in order to get the bare fucking minimum. Like $40,000 a year and a fucking Mustang. You know, like, this is not a flex.
Because Americans are responding to him as commander-in-chief, the press corps doesn't want to write about him. Or bring us to the topic of the moment, the highly successful strikes in Iran. Let me read the bottom line
That's
here.
not true, Chris. There are a lot of opportunities with the U.S. military, including the GI programs. That's my point. You're proving my point. Look, you said the GI program. What is the GI program, Vis? What is the GI program? It's essentially, it's free college, right? It's that the government pays for your college, right? 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 So if you're saying that people sign up, not being able to fully afford college is not poverty, yes, it is. Yes, it is. If your nation makes education so expensive that people have to go into financial debt, that is not good. No, let me ask you something. Do you believe that everybody in the United States of America should be capable of getting a college-level education? Because I do. I believe every single person in the United States, if they want one, should be able to get a college education. Do you? Isn't the nation doing it? It's a private colleges. No, but answer that. Do you believe everybody in the nation should be able to get a college education? If they want one. Come on. Yes? Okay. Sure. Okay, so he says sure. So here's my point. A lot of these people are joining the military not because they want to go fight for our nation, not because they are valiant, brave heroes, but because they don't have any other options in getting a college education. They don't have the money, and they don't have the time to get the money. So they go, well, I could do 2 or 4 years in the military, get that GI Bill, and go to college. That is a huge reason for people joining the military. That's my point. If recruitment levels are increasing, it's because people can't fucking afford anything. And they're willing to join the military and sign away their rights. You are no longer a civilian. You don't get the same rights when you're in the military, bro. That's why military courts exist. Because you go to a different court system. You have a completely different set of rights.
President Trump directed the most complex and secretive military operation in history. And it was a resounding success, resulting in a ceasefire agreement and the end of the 12-day war. There's been a lot of discussion about what happened and what didn't happen.
Brother, do you think people would join the military if there were no benefits, if it was just pay? Do you think people would join the military if it was just the $40,000 a year? Because they fucking wouldn't. They wouldn't. You could get that money anywhere else.
Step back for a second. Because of decisive military action, President Trump created the conditions to end the war, decimating, choose your word, obliterating, destroying Iran's nuclear capabilities. I want to read some of the assessments that have been provided because
good shit,
whether it's
Neovix.
fake news, CNN, MSNBC, or the New York Times, there's been fawning coverage of a preliminary assessment. I've had a chance to read it. Every outlet has breathlessly reported on a preliminary assessment from DIA. I'm looking at it right now. Again, it was preliminary, a day and a half after the actual strike, when it admits itself in writing that it requires weeks to accumulate the necessary data to make such an assessment. It's preliminary. It points out that it's not been coordinated with the intelligence community at all. There's low confidence in this particular report. It says in the report there are gaps in the information.
Brother,
it says in the report multiple linchpin assumptions.
13-day war. Well, technically it's a 13-day war, but they're going to call it whatever the fuck they want to call it. And also, all these Republicans were like, it's not a war. Your president labeled it as a 12-day war.
Are what this assessment, a linchpin assumption, you know what that is? That means your entire premise is predicated on a linchpin. If you're wrong, everything else is wrong. And yet, still, this report acknowledges it's likely severe damage. Again, this is preliminary, but leaked because someone had an agenda to try to muddy the waters and make it look like this historic strike wasn't successful. I'm going to get to the chairman in a moment because he's going to lay out the particulars for you based on his professional military experience. But here's what other folks are saying. The DIA that put that report out says that this is a preliminary low-confidence report and will continue to be refined as additional intelligence becomes available. How about the Israeli Atomic Energy Commission? The devastating U.S. strikes on Fordo destroyed the site's critical infrastructure and rendered the enrichment facility inoperable. Have any of these quotes made their way into the New York Times or the Washington Post? MSNBC? CNN?
Brother,
any of these quotes? How about this one?
You know what he's doing? He's not talking to you. He's talking to Trump. He's buying brownie points with the Führer, being like, look how willing I am to attack the press for you, mein Führer.
This is a new one from the UN, the United Nations. No friend of the United States, or certainly Israel often. Here's the head of the UN Atomic Energy Agency this morning, Rafael Grossi. U.S. and Israeli strikes caused enormous damage to Iran's nuclear sites. Don't take my word for it. How about the IDF's?
Yeah, I'm sure they did take enormous damage. That's not total obliteration. That's not destroying their enriched uranium stockpile. That's not permanently destroying their chances of making a nuclear weapon. You yourself said we set them back by a couple of months. A couple of months? That's a forever war.
Chief of Staff, I can say here that the assessment is that we significantly damaged the nuclear program, setting it back by years. I repeat.
Oh, I'm sorry. Couple of years. So what does that mean? In 2029, we're going back in? Another bombing run? Another assassination campaign? We'll just do it every 4 years. Yeah, that sounds, what's the word? Sustainable? Yeah. Yeah. This is your solution? This is your solution? We have a bunch of fucking chimpanzees in charge, bro. We have a bunch of chimpanzees in charge.
Years. The Iranian foreign minister, the spokesman. Our nuclear installations have been badly damaged, that's for sure. I'm sure that's an understatement. John Radcliffe, the director of the CIA, putting out a statement.
Pete Hegseth is in the chat. He just said, I'm on coke right now. Pete, what are you doing?
CIA can confirm that a body of credible intelligence indicates Iran's nuclear program has been severely damaged by recent targeted strikes. This includes new intelligence from a historically reliable, very different than preliminary assessment with low confidence. He's saying historically reliable.
Yo, Pete, were you like geeked up during this speech, Pete?
An accurate source and method that several key Iranian nuclear facilities were destroyed and would have to be rebuilt over the course of years. CIA continues to collect additional reliably sourced information to keep appropriate decision makers fully informed. How about DNI Tulsi Gabbard yesterday? She writes, and I quote, "New intelligence confirms what POTUS has stated numerous times. Iran's nuclear
Tulsi Gabbard fell in line so fucking quick when Trump called her out. Well, she's wrong. Dude, she fell in line so quick, that bootlicking, warmongering, white-haired slut.
Have been destroyed." Institute for Science and International Security President David Albright, overall, Israel and U.S. attacks have effectively destroyed Iran's centrifuge enrichment program. Time and time again, I can go down the list. Those that understand, those that see, those that do proper assessments recognize.
I bet you Pete Hegseth's Grindr profile is fucking gas. Gasoline. Pure fucking fuckery. It's got to be unreal.
What the United States military did was historic. And again, before I pass it to the chairman, because you, and I mean specifically you, the press, specifically...
What if he's tweaking right now because he has a rose toy? Yo!
You, the press corps, because you cheer against Trump so hard. It's like in your DNA and in your blood to cheer against Trump.
He's right.
Because you want him not to be successful so bad, you have to cheer against the efficacy of these strikes. You have to hope maybe they weren't effective. Maybe the way the Trump administration has represented them isn't true. So let's take half-truths, spun information, leaked information, and then spin it in every way we can to try to cause doubt,
screenshot of that. He looks nuts.
and manipulate spun information.
Hold on.
You have to hope maybe they weren't effective. Maybe the way the Trump administration has represented them isn't true. So let's take half-truths, spun information, leaked.
Come on, give me a good one. Give me a good one.
Administration has represented them isn't true. So let's take half-truths, spun information.
That's a good one. All right. Wait.
Leaked information and then spin it.
All right. How do you screenshot? What, Pete? What's up, Pete? You look nuts in this shot, dog. No, that was a bad one. One more. That's a good one. All right.
Leaked information and then spin it in every way we can to try to cause doubt and manipulate the public mind over whether or not our brave pilots were successful. How many stories have been written about how hard it is to, I don't know, fly a plane for 36 hours?
It's 2025, dipshit. That plane practically flies itself. Shut the fuck up, dude. Shut the fuck up. That's the stupidest shit I've ever heard. What do you think this is? 1944? When we're sending our boys over in a fucking tin can? It's a fucking $2 billion plane with a bathroom and a microwave in it. Shut the fuck up. It's not hard to fly those things. Is it impressive? Yes. Is it hard? No.
Has MSNBC done that story? Has Fox? Have we done the story how hard that is? Have we done it 2 or 3 times so that American people understand? How about how difficult it is to shoot a drone from an F-15 or 16 or F-22 or F-35? Or what it's like to man a Patriot battery? Or how hard it is to refuel midair?
This guy is obsessed with war. This guy is fucking obsessed with war.
American people an understanding of how complex and sophisticated this mission really was. There are so many aspects of what our brave men and women did that because of the hatred of this press corps are undermined because people are trying to leak and spin that it wasn't successful. It's irresponsible. And folks in this room are privy to that information because of the proximity here in the Pentagon. It's an important responsibility. And time and time again, classified information is leaked or peddled for political purposes to try to make the president look bad. And what's really happening is you're undermining the success of incredible B-2 pilots and incredible F-35 pilots and incredible refuelers and incredible air defenders who accomplished their mission, set back a nuclear program in ways that other presidents would have dreamed. How about we celebrate that? How about we talk about how special America is, that only we have these capabilities?
Celebrating. Why aren't you guys celebrating? You know, you guys to make it the president feel real bad. You know, admit the president is doing everything he can, and you guys, like, you won't even tell him he did a good job. He just want to be told he did a good job. Just tell him he so good.
Abilities. I think it's too much to ask, unfortunately, for the fake news. So we're used to that. But we also have an opportunity to stand at the podium and read the truth of what's really happening. And the reality is, you want to call it destroyed,
there you go.
You want to call it defeated,
How's that?
you want to call it obliterated. Choose your word. This was an historically successful attack, and we should celebrate it as Americans. And it gives us a chance to have peace, chance to have a deal, and an opportunity to prevent a nuclear Iran, which is something President Trump talked about for 20 years, and no other presidents had the courage to actually do. So with that, I want to hand it over to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. They've done technical analysis on this, not just on the strike, but also on our Patriot defenders, on Al Udeid. And Mr. Chairman, I'll hand it over to you.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, and good morning, and all of you. Thank you for being here. As a follow-up to my comments on Sunday's press conference, I wanted to give you a few updates this morning on something I'm honored to do as a chairman, and that's a chance to get to talk about some of our service members and the incredible thing.
I don't give a fuck about that. Shut the fuck up.
Joining us now, NBC News White House correspondent Monica Alba, NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Melanie Zanona, MSNBC political analyst and chief White House correspondent at the New York Times, Peter Baker, and retired U.S. Army Lieutenant General Ben Hodges. He previously served as the commanding general of the U.S. Army Europe. Monica, the president was really hyping up this press conference last night. Bring us the top takeaways and what it might mean for today's Senate briefing.
And I think the fact that this press briefing took place is significant in and of itself because they don't often hold those briefings with any kind of regularity over at the Pentagon. So the fact that the president was pushing his top officials here to come forth and try to continue to argue this narrative that they clearly want front and center to combat the early intelligence assessment that came from the Pentagon's own intelligence agency is clearly a communication strategy as much as it is one where they are trying to project this era of transparency, even if they didn't answer a lot of the crucial and key questions. But this is about the Trump administration trying to come together and put all of the information that they feel backs up the president's own really definitive claims in one place. And they're doing that by citing Iranian officials, they're citing Israeli Atomic Energy Commission assessments, they're citing other information as we wait to get the complete picture from the U.S. intelligence community, which we should note will take a lot of time. That's not something likely that would be available when we're here less than a week out from those bombings of the Iranian nuclear sites. But specifically, the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth seemed to be performing here for an audience of one, as you had mentioned earlier in your show, this idea that for Donald Trump, it's very important to come out before cameras and present a clear defense of his decision making. And if he's been doing that since leaving NATO, all on social media repeatedly over and over again, he wanted to be sure that his officials could come and provide more information too. But General Dan Kane, who's the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, he provided a lot more actual tactical, specific information that we learned a little bit more on the strikes. And I think that was part of the administration's effort too. But as you mentioned, that classified briefing behind closed doors, there could be a different tone too about some of this information that came out early.
And so that leads me to Melanie. How are lawmakers approaching today's briefing as they've been trying to get answers for days now?
Yeah, there's been a lot of frustration on Capitol Hill, particularly among Democrats, about the level of communication between the Trump administration and members of Congress. I mean, remember, at this point, most members of Congress still have not received a classified briefing on the situation on Iran since those strikes on Saturday, and that includes top members of Congress in the Democratic Party. Now, some Republican leaders like Speaker Mike Johnson said they have been receiving classified briefing, but as a whole, Congress is largely being left out of the loop. So there are a ton of questions that members have, and top of mind being just how successful was that strike. Here's Democratic Senator Warner.
I mean, there was lots of debate in the public domain before this action was taken about whether the bunker busters could actually destroy all of these facilities. Again, I'm hopeful they're as close to obliterated as possible. But if they're not, then what next? I mean, does that mean future military action?
And so we'll see just how satisfied lawmakers are walking out of this briefing. It is going to be classified. It is going to be Senate-wide, and the House will receive their classified briefing tomorrow. But
I'm white!
Like I said, just a lot of questions top of mind and a lot of frustration going both ways between the administration and Congress over all of this right now.
General, what questions would you have for the defense secretary?
Well, number one, I would ask, what's the strategic objective that this operation is?
What? It's from Boondock Saints, bro. You guys haven't seen that clip? Come on. That shit's so fucking funny to me. All right, you got any new King Dolans? Any new King Dolans? No. No new King Dolans. Hey, Chris, if you could make a deal that Doland Trump gets to bang you like a drum, but after that he resigns from politics, you doing it? Brother, he doesn't even need to resign, and I'll take that. Are you out of your fucking mind? Some Doland back shots? And frankly, I'm gonna come. Do not come. I'm gonna come. Come on, be so fucking for real. Oh, here comes No Lip. No lip, no lip, no lip, no lip, no lip. Oh, Melania, oh no, oh, don't do it, Melania, no. JD, get away. JD, no, JD, no, 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 no. I'm gonna bring in my good friend Sean. Come here, P. Diddy. Dude, this room is low-key so tiny. No more gooning. Get out. No more gooning. Everybody out. Everybody out. No more gooning. You're all gooners. Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out. Ban all gooning. Ban all gooning. Ban all gooning. Ban all gooning. Mute 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 all gooners. Mute all gooners. You'll have no viewers left. No! Y'all are fucked. Chris, I texted you. You started this? Get the fuck out of my face. Up in my blood to run. Call my name and save me from the dark. For I come undone. Call my name and save me from the dark. Courthouse I was married in is bigger than this room. Yeah, this is unreal. This is like hilariously tiny. I can't wake up. So this is how democracy dies. With thunderous schooning. Hawk 1, this is Hawk 2. I'm requesting immediate air support. We have a front line of anime gooners. They are flanking in. We need air support. How copy? Hawk 2, this is Hawk 1. I copy you. Headed in right now with a skivvy strafing run. Danger close. 10-4. Heads down, boys. Danger close. That's so stupid, bro. What's your favorite epic musical song? Oh God, what is it? When he's fucking stabbing him, he's like, ah! And he's like, look what you turned me into. Like, it's so good. That one's so good. Into the Water is also very good. Get in the water. Get in the water. No, that musical's unreal. It's unreal. Don't mistake my threats for bluff. You have lived more than enough. Get in the water. Where the fuck is No Lip Levitt? Look, is there no AC in this room? Is there no AC in this room? Thank you for the $5. $5. Money, money, money. Chris, do you think you could beat me in a lightsaber fight? Yes. I keep that fucking thing on me, dog. I keep that thing on me. You're not catching me lacking, brother. You're not catching me lacking. What do you think this is? A game? What do you think this is? A game? Brother. Did somebody turn my ray gun to point at me? Obi-Wan. He's in the walls.
He's in the goddamn walls!
I would love to see Chris play the saxophone. Bro, I'm keeping that card in my sleeve until I'm on one of those daily shows. You know, like you're running for like, I don't know, like New York governor or some shit or Congress or president. You get on the daily show and he's like, so I heard here, you play the saxophone? Everyone goes, whoa. Yeah, you know, yeah, no, I actually do. I haven't played it in a long time, but yeah, no, I was pretty good at saxophone. That's great. I love that. We have a saxophone here for you. We have a saxophone here right for you. Would you mind? I go, oh, Jimmy. You put me on the spot here, Jimmy. Oh, come on, man. Come on. Just a couple of seconds. All right. You got to give me the benefit of the doubt. I haven't played the fucking thing in a long time. All right. Okay. All right. Like, dude, are you fucking kidding? Do you know how hard that would go? Do you know how unbelievably hard that would go? Like, genuinely, any politician does that, and then, like, he pulls it out, he goes, by the way, I'm a socialist. Fuck Donald Trump. You gotta imagine. You gotta imagine. It worked for Billiam. Billiam Clintussi. Let's see. We got breaking news. President Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu have reportedly agreed in principle to end the Gaza war within 2 weeks and to expand the Abraham Accords. This is according to Israel Hayom. So, I don't know. Listen, I don't take anything the fucking Israelis say seriously, so I'll believe it when I see it. Who would pre-moisten the reed? There is no one in my chat that is free of sin. You are all corrupted to the fucking core, and I love it. The White House press briefing. It's a fucking PowerPoint. Brother, did anyone catch that? That was a PowerPoint. This is a PowerPoint. The White House press briefing is a PowerPoint. What? I'm sorry. What? The White House press briefing is made on Microsoft PowerPoint. That's the craziest thing I've heard. Wake me up. Wake me up. Wake me up inside. I can't wake up. Can't wake up and save me. Call my name and frankly, me frankly. Oh, God. Jarvis, stop jorking it for a bit and turn on the volume. Thanks, Jarvis. Jarvis, go back to jorking it. Yo, Pete Hexeth's been in chat, dog. Pete Hexeth's been in chat, dog. Yo, Pete. Yo, Pete. How was that fucking 8-ball? That shit get you loaded? Pete Pegseth. Ooh. Ooh. Pete Pegseth. Now that's a name. Now that is a name. Yo, do you think any of these people know that we're staring at the back of their fucking heads? Look at all these heads, bro. Let's do some head rating, okay? Decent back of the head. You could fix that spot where the hair isn't really there, you know? Just get your hand and flip it back. You know what I'm saying? Again, decent back of the head here, but the chat is kind of blocking it. Incredible back of the head here. Same problem with the front one. Great back of the head here. An incredible back of the head right here. This one, I like no problem with the back of the head. I mean, the back of your head is ridiculous. You do have a bald spot. If you understand the back of your head is ridiculous, you are officially old. Shut up. We've got another nice back of the head. An incredible back of the head. An incredible back of the head. Decent back of the head. Decent back of the head. Terrible back of the head. Work on that. Work on that. Great back of the head. 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 A lot of great backs of the head.
Earlier this week. Then there's also this search for the leaker. The White House hasn't publicly said that they believe this leak came from Capitol Hill. However, they have said that it happened shortly after.
Where's the audio?
Was shared with Congress, and then of course we saw those classified briefings that were delayed shortly after. So they're going to start limiting information, classified information that is shared with Congress. And
the fuck is this, bro? What are we doing right now?
As well. And Deputy AG Todd Blanche, by the way, told Fox News last night, or Ingram, that they are ready to go after.
Bro, do you? Bro, I've been in these rooms. Not in this room, but like in the United Nations, in these small rooms where there's cameras and all these different news channels. I never seen nobody hold their phone like that. Her phone must be out of frame. Because you know, like on the news, they look down at their paper. They might be simulating looking down at a piece of paper. You know what I'm saying? That is fucking crazy. There he is, Connie. What's this briefing about? It's just going to be a whole bunch of propaganda. Brother, we live in like fucking North Korea. You know what's going to happen is No Lip Levitt is going to come out and go, thanks to the leadership of our great and humble president, Donald J. Trump, we now know that we have totally and completely destroyed or obliterated the nuclear facilities. And we now know that CNN and these fake leakers and like, we already know what it's going to be, bro. It's so fucking predictable, dog. How do you always miss disobedient avocados notifications? What? What happened? What happened? Disobedient Avocado says, I will be the reed moistener. Thank you for the $5. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't mean to miss anything.
I bet you $1 she won't say any of that. I'll bet you $2 she do.
I bid my blood to run. 2-minute warning, 2-minute warning, 2-minute warning, 2-minute warning, 2-minute warning before the briefing. 2-minute warning. That's what they just said over like a fucking intercom. I should have let you guys hear it. That was crazy. It was like 2-minute warning, 2-minute warning before the press briefing. And it was No Lip herself. I couldn't even fathom the level of horror that I would feel shudder throughout my body if I was in a room with a PA system and I heard Caroline Levitt. Brother, one time I was piss drunk in college at some fucking bar, a pub. And you know when you do that stumble into the bathroom and you put one hand on the wall and you piss, and that's when you start feeling real drunk? And I'm pissing. And then out of nowhere I hear, we will meet them in the beaches. We will meet them in the fires. We will meet them in the oceans. And I'm like, what the fuck? Is that Winston Churchill? And then I notice there's a fucking PA system up above in the bathroom. And it's dead ass just Winston Churchill speeches on repeat. And I'm fucking blasted. And I'm like, what? No. What? It was the craziest fucking shit I ever went through in my life.
In May. In May? Yeah, we just got back from Portugal like a month ago. Oh, that's amazing. Awesome. So great. Yeah. You're doing great. Yeah. So thank you. Yeah, it's been good. It's been good.
Somebody send me $40,000. Instantly. By the way, if you're new here, hi, how are you? I'm Chris Valenti. I'm a douchebag from New York who majored in history and minored in political science. There's nothing I hate more than fascism. I am a socialist. If you like the channel, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. It costs you absolutely nothing, and it helps me out tremendously. If you do want to support the channel financially, you could become a patron on Patreon. You could become a member on YouTube. You could buy merch. You could use a 40% off discount code for the Vantage subscription on Ground News located in the description below. Or you could just straight up donate to the channel like Nelson just did with a $2 donation. That reads out saying $40,000 US. Thank you very much, Nelson, for the $2 donation. Again, I am an independent journalist. I have no funding, never had a conversation with an advertiser or a billionaire, and that is why I am completely willing to give my own fucking opinion. I don't give a shit what anybody says. I will keep on screaming and kicking until I get my fucking way. Here she comes. Here she comes. All white today, no lip. All right, interesting.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good to see all of you. With President Trump as commander-in-chief, the world is a much safer place.
Dude, Fox is
After
a shit
decades
camera.
in which past presidents coddled and
Thank you for the
enabled the
$2,
world's leading
$5.
state sponsor of terrorism, President Trump finally ended the immediate threat of a nuclear Iranian regime. Following President Trump's command, the most powerful military in the history of the world executed massive precision strikes on 3 of the Iranian regime's key nuclear facilities. The objective of Operation Midnight Hammer was to destroy the regime's nuclear enrichment capacity and stop the grave nuclear threat posed to the United States, Israel, and the rest of the free world. On 3 the mission of the Iranian regime's key nuclear facilities.
This is better.
The objective of Operation Midnight Hammer was to destroy the which will go down enrichment capacity was an overwhelming success.
Oh, God.
Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Dan Raisin Kane covered the operation in a briefing this morning at the Pentagon.
What have I done?
And Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Dan Raisin Kane covered the operation in great detail at their briefing this morning at the Pentagon, and I encourage every American to watch it. As President Trump has said repeatedly, the United States of America has the greatest, fiercest, and bravest armed forces ever to stride the face of this earth, and we couldn't be more grateful and proud of our nation's warriors. The Iranian regime was weeks away from being able to produce a nuclear weapon that would threaten the entire world before President Trump took this decisive action on Saturday night to obliterate their nuclear capabilities.
I told you she would say
The contrast
this.
in leadership could not be more clear. Barack Obama and Joe Biden sent pallets of cash,
Obama!
taxpayer dollars,
Obama!
in a failed attempt to buy the Iranian regime's compliance with a weak and ineffective deal. President Trump sent a fleet of American warplanes to destroy Iran's ability to produce a nuclear weapon. The United States and the entire world are safer because of this president's decisiveness. Despite agenda-driven leaks by the fake news media aimed at undermining this incredible accomplishment achieved by President Trump and our brave fighter pilots, there is broad consensus emerging already that Iran's nuclear capabilities were indeed destroyed. The United States, Israel, the United Nations, and even Iran all agree they can no longer build a nuclear weapon. So why did the president immediately turn to obliterating after the Iranian nuclear threat?
Tell us, Caroline.
Securing peace. Within 48 hours of the devastating strike.
You hear that, guys? We bombed them for peace.
Ceasefire between Israel and Iran and officially ended the 12-day war. The Middle East is now shifting away from chaos and bloodshed and moving toward the beginning stages of a new era of peace and stability that President Trump has long called on them to achieve.
Peace and stability in the Middle East. When have I heard that before, huh?
This is what peace through strength looks like. Under President Trump, America will relentlessly advance our interests without being dragged into endless wars. His fearless leadership guarantees America is once again respected across the world. Just look at what he was able to accomplish at the NATO summit in the Netherlands. Many of you were there.
Dude, she gives the same energy as, what is that woman from The Boys? The one with the guns and the bandolier over her chest. Gunsmoke or some shit. She's literally just the most humble servant.
In the history
the most
of
loyal
the NATO
servant.
Alliance. And as a result, the United States of America will carry less of the burden, and our NATO allies will be stronger than ever before. As NATO Secretary General Ruda put it, for too long, one ally, the United States, and our taxpayers, I may add, carried too much of the burden of that commitment. And that changes today. President Trump made this change possible. We will produce trillions more for our common defense to make us stronger and fairer by equalizing spending between America and our allies. This is the Trump effect. This is what the president meant when he declared that America is back. Now, back here at home, Americans are paying much cheaper prices for gasoline this summer, as both the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times pointed out today. Here's how the Wall Street Journal put it. Hitting the road this summer won't bring as much of a big hit to your wallet. The national average for a gallon of regular gasoline is about 23 cents cheaper than this time last year. Analysts say plentiful supply is expected to keep prices down in the coming months. These are the cheapest gas prices at this point of the summer since 2021. And despite all the doom casting from liberal pundits, oil prices on Tuesday were lower than before the Israel-Iran conflict began. As President Trump continues to unleash American energy, our country will have even more efficient, reliable, and affordable energy to protect our national security and fuel our people. Later this afternoon, here at the White House, the president will host a One Big Beautiful event in the East Room to rally Republicans to get the One Big Beautiful bill across the finish line. At that event, he will be joined by everyday Americans.
Can't wait till we can just slash Medicaid for all.
From the common sense policies and provisions within this bill. This is the largest tax cut for working and middle-class Americans in history, and it's going to put more money into the pockets of hardworking Americans. Families will see an average increase in take-home pay of more than $10,000 per year. Americans earning between $30,000 and $80,000 per year will see a 15% tax cut. Overtime and tipped workers will save thousands of dollars annually. And our amazing seniors will receive historic financial relief by reducing the tax burden on their Social Security benefits.
Dude, this is
Simply
insane.
Put,
Every single thing she just said was a lie. That is fucking nuts.
Senate and the House to see this bill on the president's desk for signature by Independence Day. Here in our new media seat today, we have Colin Anderson with the Washington Free Beacon, who will kick off our question and answer Colin, go ahead.
Thank you, Caroline. We reported yesterday on a briefing from the Israeli defense minister in which she said the U.S. and Israel are working together to monitor any attempts from Iran to rebuild their nuclear program, and also that if Iran was to do so, the U.S. and Israel would work together to once again destroy that nuclear program. Is that aligned with the president's thinking?
Look, the president, as I said in those opening remarks, Colin, and thanks for being with us today, views the Middle East on its way to peace and prosperity.
The Middle East.
The president used strength on
The
Saturday
Middle
night.
East,
The whole
peace and
world
pro-
saw
Oh my
that the
God,
United
this woman's
States
insane.
is indeed the most lethal fighting force in the world with those precision strikes on Saturday evening. But the president wants peace. He always has. And right now we're on a diplomatic path with Iran. The president and his team, namely Special Envoy Witkoff, continue to be in communication with the Iranians and especially our Gulf and Arab partners in the region to come to an agreement with Iran. As for our alliance with the State of Israel and that friendship and that partnership between the United States and the State of Israel, I would argue it has never been stronger. And we see a new era in which perhaps some of these Gulf and Arab states can sign on to the Abraham Accords. That was one of the president's most signature accomplishments in his first term, and he'd like to see more of those countries sign on in this second term. And so we look forward to sustaining a long and durable peace in the region, and the president wants to do that through a diplomatic solution. But as he proved on Saturday night, he's not afraid to use strength if we need to do it. Gabe.
Thanks, Caroline. The president mentioned in a Truth Social post that no enriched uranium was moved from Fordow. What about the other two sites, Isfahan and Natanz? And how can the president be so sure that no uranium was moved?
He's not sure.
Well, what I can assure you is that the United States and our intelligence agencies,
going to dodge the question.
And Director Ratcliffe and the president's entire national security team were obviously watching these sites very closely in the weeks and the days leading up to the attack on Saturday, which I will add was one of the most secretive and successful operations in United States history. I think many of you in this room would agree with that, because none of you in this room
I don't
knew about
agree
the
at
strike
all, because we all fucking knew that Trump was about to bomb Iran. We all fucking knew it because he kept fucking telling us on Truth Social. He said he knew where the Ayatollah is and we're not gonna kill him yet. What the fuck are you talking about, you dumb blonde cunt?
You mentioned that there'd be talks with Iran. You didn't mention any details, and Iran has not confirmed them. Can you share any details about any potential talks next week?
We don't have anything scheduled as of now, but I spoke to our Special Envoy Witkoff at length this morning, and I can assure all of you we continue to be in close communication with the Iranians and through our intermediaries as well, namely the Qataris, who have been an incredible ally and partner throughout this entire effort. And as I said, this administration is always focused on diplomacy and peace, and we want to ensure we can get to a place where Iran agrees to a non-enrichment civil nuclear program, and there are many other requests that the United States has. Those details continue to really, they're just starting. Of course, the operation was just on Saturday night, but we are in touch, and if there is a meeting, we will let you know, as we always do. Brian.
Thank you, Caroline. There's two. One on trade. On the July deadline that's coming up for the trade deals, is that deadline still hard and fast for the president, or is he now considering even coming to trade deals after that deadline, and where is he on that going forward?
I think the president has been asked this quite a few times by many of you in the media. I've heard him answer it at press conferences and at gaggles. He just spoke about it on Air Force One. The deadline is not critical. The president can simply provide these countries with a deal if they refuse to make us one by the deadline, and that means
so
the
Trump
president
deadlines
can pick
mean
a
nothing.
reciprocal tariff
Copy
rate
that.
he believes is advantageous for the United States and for the American worker, and he will continue to do that. But as for the deals, our United States Trade Ambassador, Jameson Greer, I speak to him frequently. He's working very hard, and he has had very good and productive discussions with many of our key trading partners.
And on the One Big Beautiful Bill, there's conversations on the Hill right now about the Medicaid cuts. I'm curious, if the final bill that the president's been talking about comes to him and it has Medicaid cuts in it, will he sign it, or would he rather just Congress do away with those cuts?
I think our friends in both the Senate and the House know exactly where the president stands on Medicaid. He wants to get rid of the waste, fraud, and abuse, and they are working to do that in the Senate right now. Jennifer.
Follow up on that, on the Big Beautiful Bill, is there enough time for Congress to work through the issues it needs to work through? I'm saying, does the president need to move back his deadline a little bit?
We expect that bill to be on the president's desk for signature
Jack
by
says
July 4th.
thank you, OBK.
I know that there was a ruling by the Senate parliamentarian this morning. Look, this is part of the process. This is part of the inner workings of the United States Senate. But the president is adamant about seeing this bill on his desk here at the White House by Independence Day.
And then on Israel, is there a date set for the Prime Minister to visit the White House yet? Is he coming in a couple weeks?
There isn't a date, but the Prime Minister has expressed interest in coming to the White House to meet with the president and come to Washington. The president is obviously very open to that, but we don't have a date.
Meanwhile, Zoran said that if Bibi Netanyahu came to New York, he would fucking arrest him. Did you guys see that? Did you guys see that? It was fucking sick. Let me see if I can pull it up. Here it is.
Welcome, Prime Minister Mayor Mamdani. Would you welcome Prime Minister Netanyahu to New York City for whatever he comes for, given the U.S. is not a signatory to the ICC, so he can travel to the U.S., unlike a lot of other countries. Would a Mayor Mamdani welcome Benjamin Netanyahu to the city?
No. As mayor, New York City would arrest Benjamin Netanyahu. This is a city that our values are in line with international law. It's time that our actions are also.
Even though the U.S. is not a signatory to the ICC?
No, it's time that we actually step up and make clear what we are willing to do to showcase the leadership that is sorely missing in the federal administration.
I love him. He's my king. I would fight with him. But he needs to be very careful about the things that he says, bro, because I'm worried about his safety now. Genuinely. That is the bravest thing I've ever heard a politician say. The bravest thing I've ever heard a politician say.
Said. What's your response to Americans who are worried the peace isn't going to last and think that Israel is trying to plunge us into another endless war on their behalf?
I think the fact that the president was able to successfully negotiate a ceasefire when nobody thought that was possible, it was a surprise to everyone in this room. It was a surprise to the world, but the president got it done because he wants to see peace in this world. He does not want the United States to be dragged into these conflicts again.
And that's why we bombed Iran.
He has to, but the president has already proven he can put America first and deliver on peace at the same time. They're not mutually exclusive goals.
One more. After Carrie Lake, she testified in the House Foreign Affairs Committee on the waste, fraud, and abuse and the rot, really, in Voice of America and USAGF. The president called for Congress to kill it. What does that look like, and is the president willing to sign an executive order?
Well, I believe that action would have to be legislative through Congress, and the president directed Congress to get that done in his Truth Social post yesterday. If there is any executive action that can be taken to cut
DJ just became a member for 2 months. Congratulations on the historic victory for New York City from Pennsylvania. Chris, I hope New York City gets better for you and all the others who live there. Thank you very much, DJ.
And if it can be done, it will be done here at the White House, but Congress should act as well. To the back. Go ahead. Yes.
Caroline, thank you. The administration
to the back, and then Carrie, I'll come to you.
Yeah, the administration said that the DIA report was low confidence intel. Can you share what other assessments are currently underway to get to the bottom of just how effective these strikes were?
Yes. Well, I can assure you what the CIA director said, that when we look at the entirety of the intelligence that we have to this date, it concludes that these strikes on the Iranian nuclear facilities were absolutely successful. It was a total obliteration, as the president said, and not only does our own intelligence say that, but also the Iranian foreign minister has said that. We saw Israel.
So how does Zoran tax the rich if they're willing to leave the state? They're not willing to leave the state. That's the whole thing. If you think that all of the rich people are going to fucking just leave New York in a mass exodus out of the fear of increased taxes, you're out of your mind. Sure, maybe some of them will. The absolute wealthiest people who refuse to pay higher taxes, sure, they'll move somewhere else. Fuck them. Let them go. We will literally turn your entire industry into publicly owned shit. Let them go.
intelligence community or perhaps on Capitol Hill, we don't know, but I believe the FBI is investigating to find out who that leaker was, because it's illegal and they should be held accountable for that. Leaked bits and pieces of an intel assessment to push a false narrative. And it's to the same reporter, I will add, Natasha Bertrand of CNN, who has done this in the past. In 2020, it was Natasha Bertrand who had 51 intelligence analysts falsely lie to her, but she still put it on paper for some reason, that the Hunter Biden laptop story was Russian disinformation. We all know that's not true, right? We can all agree on that now. That was a lie from the intelligence community. Also in 2020, this same reporter, Natasha Bertrand, wrote that a top intel agency ruled out the man-made lab leak theory of the coronavirus origins.
Oh my
Again,
God,
the president was right about
COVID.
that. This reporter wrote a lie from the intelligence community to seek a narrative she wanted to prove, and guess what? We now know that's the truth. Also, in 2024, Bertrand pushed the suckers and losers hoax. She also pushed the fine people
Now
hoax,
they have a target, they have a
which was
name. Yo, mark my words, I'm always right. They're gonna arrest this woman. This is gonna be the first journalist who is arrested for covering the fucking news accurately. This is going to be an insane escalation in fascism.
John Ratcliffe was speaking without evidence when he said Iran was attempting to undermine President Trump's presidential campaign.
This is
and
bad.
And then we, of course, found out that was absolutely true. In fact, the Biden administration declassed an intel report which said they had high confidence that Iran had done exactly what Ratcliffe alleged. They did run an influence campaign to hurt President Trump's candidacy. In fact, we know the Iranians tried to take President Trump's life. And so this is a reporter
There's
who has
no
been
evidence of that.
unfortunately used by people who dislike Donald Trump in this government to push fake and false narratives. She should be ashamed of herself. And that's not what reporting is. Journalism is trying to find the facts and the truth. And this week we saw this same reporter being used to push a fake narrative to try to undermine the President of the United States.
This is
and
so
more
bad.
importantly, the brave fighter pilots who conducted one of the most successful operations in United States history. And I think the American people fully know that this operation was a complete and total
They're gonna
success.
go full throttle. This is an attack of the First
Thank you,
Amendment.
Caroline. The Miami
They're gonna try to
Herald
arrest this
recently
woman.
published a story saying the Trump administration was targeting migrant foster children. The Trump administration has denounced this as false. Could you clarify the Trump administration's position on protecting migrant children, particularly the 300,000 lost under the Biden administration?
Yes, I saw that Miami Herald article yesterday, and I was aghast at the headline. It's egregious to accuse this administration of trying to target foster children. That is not at all what is happening at the Department of Homeland Security. And I learned that the Department of Homeland Security actually tried to work in good faith with this reporter to get this story right, to explain that this administration is trying to protect foster children. We are trying to keep children out of harm's way, even if that means their parents are not law-abiding citizens. We want to protect children, unlike the previous administration, which allowed children to be trafficked and raped, and in some cases killed because of the open border policies. Unfortunately, the Miami Herald just completely degraded themselves with this report, despite having a full list of facts from the Department of Homeland Security. It's another example of fake news. And the May border numbers speak for themselves. Not a single...
They are going to say that any reporting that paints the Trump regime in a bad light is fake news, and then they're going to say that that is illegal. They're going to start with this woman, Natasha. Mark my fucking words. They are going to start arresting reporters who don't cover Trump positively. We're so fucked.
And we tried to give them the facts, and they refused to report them. So thank you for bringing that report to light. Aisha.
Good to see you again.
You too.
I know you're looking for
You're
this.
usually on the Hill.
I know. I'm here today. I know you're looking for this leaker. Is it your belief? I know you said earlier you're not sure if it's on Capitol Hill or at the Pentagon, but is it your belief that it might be in Capitol Hill? And how confident are you that you'll find this leaker?
Well, I'm not personally looking for the leaker. The FBI is looking for the leaker, so you'll have to ask them in the Department of Justice in terms of this investigation. But you know, leaking top secret classified intelligence is a crime. And
so throw Pete Hegseth in jail?
Can I just ask you about how you're going to be limiting intel to Congress? What would you say to lawmakers who say they have oversight privileges, they need
Thanks,
this
Matthew
information?
Pompeo.
This administration wants to ensure
come to Canada.
that classified intelligence is not ending up in irresponsible hands. and that people who have the privilege of viewing this top secret classified information are being responsible with it. And unfortunately,
Pete Hegseth,
clearly,
Signalgate.
Someone who had their
Thank you
hands
for
on
$5,
it,
we'll
was
get
a
you
very
out.
few people,
Thanks, avocado.
a very few number of people in our government who saw this report. That person was irresponsible with it, and we need to get to the bottom of it, and we need to strengthen that process to protect our national security and protect the American public. Mary Margaret, go ahead.
Thank you, Caroline.
Sure.
You just laid out a lot of different stories about disinformation that Natasha, excuse me, that Natasha Bertrand had pushed during her time at Politico.
They
and
keep
at
saying her
CNN.
name. They're coming
Why
for her.
would any member of the Trump administration leak?
Yo, mark my words, Trump is going to make a tweet about Natasha.
Again, as I
Truth
just said,
Social
we're
post.
investigating
Wonder
who
if he
that
already
leaker
did.
was. It could have been someone in the intelligence community, or it could have been someone on Capitol Hill who had access to this document. The FBI is searching for that.
Thanks for the
person.
$5,
Go
Pat.
ahead.
Thanks, Caroline. The president was
And
obviously...
clearly it was done to undermine the president, to answer your question.
And I'm sorry, I really wanted to follow up on that really quickly. Before the strikes on Iran, we saw a number of other leaks about Tulsi Gabbard, the Vice President Vance. Is there an effort to divide the president's team when it comes to these leaks and which reporters they choose?
I do believe there's an effort on the outside of this building to try to divide the president's team on the inside, and sometimes you have to look at these headlines and laugh, because I've been in meetings where I know these things are absolutely not true, and again, we do
Cole,
our
you don't
best
fuck
here,
with
I believe,
SpongeBob?
to try to push back
You don't fuck with Robert Sponge?
the reality of this country, unfortunately, but I can assure you the president's team is strong, especially the national security team. Everyone is very proud of the president, of our commander-in-chief, and of our military for the successful operation that took place on Saturday night.
Thanks, Caroline. The president was obviously very pleased with getting his NATO allies to increase defense spending. He's made the same demands of Asia-Pacific allies of the United States, including Australia, where I'm from. How does the NATO result impact negotiations with Asia-Pacific allies? Does it, for say, strengthen the president's resolve to say, well, you know, our NATO allies have done it, now you need to do it too?
Yeah, I mean, look, if our allies in Europe and our NATO allies
I don't
can
trust
do
a
it,
man
I
who
think
doesn't
our
fuck with
allies and our friends in
SpongeBob,
the
Cole.
Asia-Pacific region can
Dead
do it
ass,
as well,
Cole.
but
If you don't fuck with Robert Sponge, I wouldn't trust you as far as I could throw you, bro.
Out on a number of bilateral meetings that were scheduled with other world leaders, including the Prime Minister of Australia. Obviously, President Zelensky, he's managed to meet since then, but are there plans afoot to make up for those meetings with the world leaders that he missed out on?
Yeah, I think many of those world leaders understood the situation happening in the Middle East and the urgency and the need for the president to get back to Washington to monitor that situation. And obviously that was the right call, considering the success of not only the operation on Saturday night, but also the ceasefire that the president has since brokered on behalf of not just our country, but the entire world.
Trump posted
frankly.
about it on Wednesday.
But he has made up a couple of those meetings, and he has had direct phone calls with some of those leaders he was supposed to meet with as well. Not all. Ed.
Oh yeah, thanks, Caroline. So to clarify on trade, so what happens to the countries other than China on July 9th?
That's a decision for the president to make, and I will let him make it.
Okay, and secondly, so now that oil is just about upper $60s a barrel, when's the administration going to start refilling the Strategic Petroleum Reserve?
That's, again, a decision for the president to make and our Secretary of Energy. There's no imminent plans to do that, from what I understand. But as you have seen with the plummeting of oil prices in this country, it's because this president and our Department of Energy have really tapped into our resources here, and we have an increase of supply, unlike the previous administration that totally hampered our domestic energy efforts, but totally robbed
Here
and
it
drained
is.
our strategic petroleum reserves.
So he already came for Natasha. Let's see. Natasha Bertrand should be fired from CNN. I watched her for 3 days doing fake news. She should be immediately reprimanded and then thrown out like a dog. She lied on the laptop from hell story, and now she lied on the nuclear site story, attempting to destroy our Patriot pilots by making them look bad when in fact they did a great job and hit pay dirt, total obliteration. She should not be allowed to work at fake news CNN. It's people like her who destroy the reputation of a once great network. Her slant was so obviously negative. Besides, she doesn't have what it takes to be an on-camera correspondent. Not even close. Fire Natasha! Dude, the king is pissed. Dude, that's elder abuse. This is elder abuse. Oh my God.
Reserve. So when the time is right, the president will make that decision. But right now, the privilege of looking at these documents would respect that. Daniel?
Thank you, Caroline. You've been emphatic that the president's expectations for the One Big Beautiful Bill to hit that July 4th deadline. You had a big meeting on Capitol Hill yesterday with the Republican Study Committee. Did you walk away from that meeting pleased with what you heard? Did it bolster your confidence that Congress is able to meet that the expectation of the president?
Yes, I did. The camaraderie at the Republican Study Committee was great. Members, expressed, their
Who do you
feelings
think runs
about the
Trump's
bill,
social
but,
media? We know.
we
You
saw,
don't remember the video of hold on, how Trump posts on Twitter all the time? You guys don't remember this? They posted this themselves. Where is it? Where the fuck is that video, bro? It's an old video. Is this it? Yeah, I think this might be it.
Thank you.
So this was during. This was how he reacted. So if you guys remember, during Kamala's speeches, Trump was like reacting to everything she said. Like after she would finish a sentence, he'd post. This is how he did it. And this is how they're still doing it. Watch.
Thank you.
Trump posted this himself.
Is she crazy? Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you so very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone.
Watch this.
Too many thank yous.
It's about 20.
That must be 35.
Traveling from India
That's
to
good.
California with an unshakable dream to be the scientist.
How many people are watching?
Can we tell how many, Dan? How many people are watching?
She's talking about how great San Francisco was before she destroyed it. A lot of talk about childhood. We've got to get to the border, inflation, and crime. See, Cynthia's out. The things of which she complains. The things of which she complains.
In many ways, Donald Trump is an unserious man.
Oh. You hear that, folks? It's great, right? Ready? These prosecutions were all started by her and Biden against their political opponents. Me. Get that out right away. She paid and raised bail. She paid bail to get the violent rioters in Minnesota out of jail.
Tim Walz let Minnesota burn Kamala Harris.
I love it. Put it in there. Put it right in with the stuff.
This is the leader of the free world, by the way. This is the most powerful man on planet Earth, by the way.
With that post, yeah.
By the way, this man right here is the only man in the United States who can authorize a nuclear launch. This man has access to the nuclear football.
Good. You could do it either that or separate.
Save more lies. Lying about the Project 2025.
Oh, lying against Project 25, which she knows, and so do all Democrats, that I have absolutely nothing to do with.
She says we all know that Trump term.
Wow.
Bill passed through
to consider, and do you expect more investigations like this from DOJ?
I have not seen that investigation from the Department of Justice, but I can certainly check in. What I can tell you, it's the position of this president that we want to restore a merit-based society and culture in the United States of America.
There's never been a
where people are
meritocracy.
not hired, nor are they promoted
Oh my
based
God.
on their color of their skin or their gender. The president wants people to be hired in the workforce because of their merit and their skill, and I think most Americans agree with that. I'll take one more. Carrie, because I promised you earlier.
So the Ayatollah Khomeini came out and said that Iran will, quote, never surrender to the U.S. That being said, what remains to do with the possible responses from Iranian proxies in the region and even in the U.S.?
Look, we saw the Ayatollah's video, and when you have a totalitarian regime, you have to save face. I think any common sense, open-minded person knows the truth about the precision strikes on Saturday night. They were wildly successful, and it's what led to the ceasefire agreement between Israel and Iran, which the president is very grateful for. And the United States of America remains prepared to defend our assets and our personnel in the region. And again, I would just emphasize the success of the strike that took place on Saturday night, and the world is a safer place because of it. Thanks, guys, for coming today, and you'll see the president at 4 o'clock. Thanks.
Unreal. Oh, so the Ayatollah says he'll never surrender. So much for that 12-day war, right, guys? Rats. So much for that 12-day war. Oh, rats. Oh, rats.
ICE is at the forefront of making sure that we're rounding up all these individuals or attempting to locate the ones that did get in. You have one that with admitted ties to Hezbollah. We also arrested a former sniper from a hostile country who snuck into the United States. So those are the type of individuals we want to locate.
So you hear it there. That's Acting ICE Director Todd Lyons talking about the work his agency is doing, trying to find and apprehend Iranian nationals in the U.S.
Yeah, just no Iranians allowed. Oh, my God.
Given concerns of potential sleeper cells here, and ICE has been busy. Federal sources telling Fox in the last week alone, ICE has arrested 130 Iranian nationals.
Note how they didn't say illegal. They're literally just arresting anyone who's Iranian in the United States of America.
Across the United States, and ICE currently has 670 Iranian nationals in ICE detention. Now, we talk about some of those people who are detained right now. You just heard Todd Lyons explain some of it. This guy, a former Iranian army sniper who had his military ID card on him at the time of his arrest. This guy, a former IRGC member with suspected ties to Hezbollah.
Oh, my
This
God.
man had a gun in his waistband, and ICE says another one of them was a known
This man had a gun in his waistband? Brother, you're Fox News. You run ads for pink pistols called Guns for Kids. What the fuck?
Suspected terrorists. So they are going out and they're going into overdrive trying to track down these potential threats. For more on this, we want to bring in former Acting ICE Director Jonathan Fahey. Jonathan, ICE is really cranking it up when it comes to finding these Iranians. Your thoughts?
Yeah, they're doing a great job, and Director Lyons and Tom Homan are doing a fantastic job focusing in and getting these people locked up and eventually removed because they see them as a danger. And it does show a drastic change, and unfortunately it's a change from the previous administration where they seem to put public safety, national security secondary to their open borders agenda. And I think you were reporting.
I think I've got to make a video about this. Real quick. Hold on. Let's also get Ayatollah Khamenei says Iran will never surrender. I want the Natasha tweet. There it is. Natasha. The fuck? U.S. Congress hearing on UFO? What?
Technology demonstrations that could explain these objects.
What?
Because the DoD policy is to rigorously deconflict such demonstrations with live exercises, I was confident this was not the case. The very next day, that email disappeared from my account and those of the other recipients without explanation. Moreover, the commander of Fleet Forces Command and the operations officer never discussed the subject. Even during weekly meetings specifically designed to address issues affecting exercises like the one in which the theater...
Oh, whatever. Okay, so... I want no lip. Going brazy.
Do you have certainty that all the highly enriched uranium was inside the Fordo Mountain, or some of it, because there were satellite photos that showed more than a dozen trucks there 2 days in advance? Are you certain none of that highly enriched uranium was moved?
Of course, we're watching every single aspect, but Jennifer, you've been about the worst, the one who misrepresents the most intentionally what the president says. I'm familiar.
Report about the ventilation shafts on Saturday night, and in fact, I was the first to describe the B-2 bombers.
Jennifer, you're about the worst. That's fucking hilarious. That's fucking hilarious. That's so stupid. That's a Fox News reporter, too.
The refueling, the entire mission, with great accuracy. So I take issue with that.
I appreciate you acknowledging that this was the
issues.
first the most successful mission based on operational security that this department has done since you've been here, and I appreciate that. So we're looking at all aspects of intelligence and making sure we have a sense of what was where.
All right, we'll get that too. Oh, God. Pentagon leaders cite military tactics. Genuine question, is this your job? Yeah, bro. I'm a political commentator. This is what I do. Pentagon leaders laid out new details Thursday about military tactics and explosives to bolster their argument that U.S. attacks had destroyed key Iranian nuclear facilities, but little more emerged on how far back the bombing had set Tehran's atomic program. In a rare Pentagon news briefing, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and General Dan Kane, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, worked to shift the debate from whether the nuclear targets were obliterated, as President Donald Trump has said, to what they portrayed as the heroism of the strikes, as well as the extensive research and preparation that went out into carrying them. And meanwhile, BBC... The U.S. gained nothing from the strikes, Iran's supreme leader says.
رئیس جمهور آمریکا در شرح اونچه که واقع شده بود بزرگ نمایی غیر متعارفی کرد. معلوم شد که به این بزرگ نمایی احتیاج داره. هر کسی میشنید اون حرفها رو میفهمید که در زیر ظاهر این حرفها یک حقیقت دیگری وجود داره. کاری نتوانستن انجام بدن. به مقصودی که داشتن نتوانستن برسن. جمهوری اسلامی سیلی سختی به گونه آمریکا نواخت. به یکی از پایگاه‌های مهم آمریکا در منطقه، پایگاه العدید، حمله کرد.
Okay. How long do you guys think until Trump starts threatening more war? How long do you think until Trump is like, you know what, I'll bomb you again? I give it a day. I think like by either tonight or tomorrow, he's going to be threatening to bomb Iran again. 3 weeks? Are you out of your fucking mind, bro? 3 weeks? Huh?
Attorney General Pam Bondi taking action against federal judges in the state of Maryland. Justice correspondent David Spunt is joining us live in Washington with more on this. David, good morning to you.
Bill, good morning. This is incredibly unusual for the DOJ of the United States to sue every federal judge in a given state. In this case, the state of Maryland. It all stems back to immigration.
Every single federal judge in Maryland? You're suing every single federal judge in Maryland? How is that even fucking real?
Immigration and the DOJ view that Maryland federal judges are putting up roadblocks for deportations. Since coming back to office in January, President Trump signed a flurry of executive orders, many of them making their way to courtrooms across the country, but a large amount ended up in Maryland courts. The DOJ writing in its lawsuit in recent months and years, district courts have used and abused their equitable powers to interfere with the prerogatives of the executive branch to an unprecedented degree. DOJ argues the judiciary cannot hamstring the executive branch from carrying out legitimate executive orders, especially when it comes to immigration. Critics of the lawsuit note the judiciary is a co-equal branch of government. Alicia Bannon, who works with the Brennan Center of Justice, wrote on social media, "It's hard not to see this challenge as further escalation by the administration of its opposition to courts that have sought to check illegal government conduct." The ironic part, though, Bill and Dana, the lawsuit was filed in Maryland, so the judges, who are the defendants here, may end up deciding the case if they don't send it elsewhere. An unusual one. Back to you.
Interesting and unusual indeed. David Spunt live in D.C. for us. David, thank you.
Look at these people. Look at these inbred fucking pieces of shit. Jeffrey C. Walker. Bro, I bet your fucking parents were siblings. Oh my God. Holy fuck. Yeah, this is how fascists secure power. First they go, well, they're going for the journalists, they're going for the education zones, they're going for the courts. We're not having an election in 2028 if Donald Trump is still in power. It's not happening at all. I hope you understand that. Anyway. Let's make a video. Let's make a video. Hold on. Okay. Start recording. Hey, how are you? There's crazy stuff going on. Pam Bondi, the Department of Justice, Trump's regime, just sued every single federal judge in the state of Maryland. That's not hyperbole. Axios is reporting DOJ lawsuit fuels Trump's war against judicial branch. The Trump regime's unprecedented decision to sue all 15 federal judges in Maryland, blue state, mind you, for slowing his deportation agenda broaches a dangerous new phase in his push to stifle the judiciary, legal experts warn. This is how fascists take over. If you know anything about Italy and Germany and Spain, this is how fascists take over. They target the education zones, right? We already see Trump putting his boot on the neck of like Harvard University, Columbia University, right? With like MAGA DEI. So you go after the universities, you go after the courts, that's what they're going after now, and you go after journalists, and that's what we're seeing now too. Trump he's like, fire Natasha, whatever. Oh, she wrote a bad story about me, throw her in jail. They're saying that she should be arrested. It's remarkable. We're really descending into fascism at a rapid pace. Ayatollah Khamenei came out, the supreme leader of Iran, inshallah. He came out and he said Iran will never surrender to the United States. He also said that our bombing did fucking nothing and that he fully expected Trump to embellish the successfulness of the strikes. Pete Hegseth came out going fucking going nuts, going like, we blew it up! It's weird. It's a weird day. It's a weird day. So why don't we get to it? Real quick. Hi, I'm Chris Valenti. I am a piece of shit douchebag from New York who majored in history and minored in political science. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. I fucking hate fascists. And support me financially if you want this to keep on happening. Anyway, let's keep reading a little bit of this story here. Judges have been one of the few obstacles to President Trump's push to reorient the entire federal government to his agenda. And legal experts said the unorthodox lawsuit is an attempt to further challenge judges' power to check the executive branch. The quote, "This is in many ways a bizarre lawsuit that seems designed to pick a fight with the judicial branch," said Alicia Bannon, the director of the Brennan Center for Justice's Judiciary Program. It's clearly another example of this regime trying to send a message to the judiciary that it thinks that it's crossing lines. Very interesting, very interesting. So the Trump regime is just attacking the First Amendment as per usual. Now, let's talk about the defiant Khamenei. He says Iran will never surrender to the United States. Iranian supreme leader says U.S. strikes on nuclear sites, quote, did nothing significant in first comment since a ceasefire that was agreed to by Israel. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, has said Iran will, quote, never surrender, end quote, to the United States, striking a defiant tone in his first remarks since a ceasefire with Israel took hold. Khamenei, 86, claimed victory after 12 days of war, culminating in an Iranian attack on the largest U.S. military base in the Middle East in Qatar, after the U.S. joined the Israeli assault. The U.S. President Donald Trump unveiled the truth and made it clear that Americans won't be satisfied with anything less than surrender of Iran. Such an event will never happen, Khamenei said. Khamenei's remarks come 2 days after a ceasefire halted the war between Iran and Israel, the foes' deadliest and most destructive confrontation, and mark his first public appearance since June 19th. Well, what the fuck did they expect? Meanwhile, speaking of Iran, ICE has begun just arresting anyone who's Iranian in the United States of America. I'm not kidding. If you are Iranian and you are in the United States of America, you need to be alert.
ICE is at the forefront of making sure that we're rounding up all these individuals or attempting to locate the ones that did get in. You have one that with admitted ties to Hezbollah. We also arrested a former sniper from a hostile country who snuck into the United States. So those are the type of individuals we want to locate.
So you hear it there. That's Acting ICE Director Todd Lyons talking about the work his agency is doing, trying to find and apprehend Iranian nationals in the U.S., given concerns of potential sleeper cells here. And ICE has been busy. Federal sources telling Fox in the last week alone, ICE has arrested 130 Iranian nationals all across.
Listen to what he just said. ICE has arrested 130 Iranian nationals. That's just somebody from Iran. He didn't say criminals. He didn't say undocumented. He didn't say it. He just said they've arrested 130 Iranian nationals. A national is just somebody from fucking Iran.
The United States, and ICE currently has 670 Iranian nationals in ICE detention.
So they're just arresting people for being Iranian.
Now, we talk about some of those people who are detained right now. You just heard Todd Lyons explain some of it. This guy, a former Iranian army sniper who had his military ID card on him at the time of his arrest.
Dude, what's hilarious is that, like, your crazy Uncle Todd, like, those fucking people who genuinely watch Fox News and, like, take it as, like, scripture. This is the scariest fucking photo they've ever seen. This is horrifying to them. You know what I'm looking at? A whole bunch of brown dudes. I don't give a fuck, but to them they go, oh my God, it's Al-Qaeda.
This guy, a former IRGC member with suspected ties to Hezbollah. This man had a gun in his waistband, and I says another.
You are literally Fox News. You run ads for pink guns for kids. Shut the fuck up.
One of them was a known or suspected terrorist. So they are going out and they're going into overdrive trying to track down these potential threats. For more on this, we want to bring in former acting ICE Director Jonathan Fahey. Jonathan, ICE is really cranking it up when
Nice neck, you fat bastard.
it comes to finding these Iranians. Your thoughts?
Yeah, they're doing a great job, and Director Lyons and Tom Homan are doing a fantastic job focusing in and getting these people locked up and eventually removed because they see them as a danger. And it does show a drastic change, and unfortunately it's a change from the previous administration where they seem to put public safety, national security secondary to their open borders agenda. And I think you were reporting earlier.
Yeah, Biden's open border agenda. Yeah, Biden, who deported 4 million fucking people. Jesus Christ. So, let's move on. Away from Iran, away from World War III, and let's talk about Trump's attack on the First Amendment. So Natasha Bertrand is the CNN journalist who broke the story about how the bombs that we dropped in the nuclear facilities did not destroy the facilities, and that is correct. And now the Trump regime, who hates the First Amendment, they hate free speech, they are fascists, they have their first target in terms of the journalist they want to throw in jail, and it is her. Natasha Bertrand should be fired from CNN. I watched her for 3 days doing fake news. She should be immediately reprimanded and then thrown out like a dog. She lied on the laptop from Hell story, and now she lied on the nuclear site story, attempting to destroy our Patriot pilots by making them look bad when in fact they did a great job and they hit pay dirt. Total obliteration. She should not be allowed to work at fake news, CNN. It's people like her who destroy the reputation of a once great network. Her slant was so obviously negative. Besides, she doesn't have what it takes to be an on-camera correspondent. Not even close. Fire Natasha. The President of the United States is just calling for the firing, and also No Lip Levitt said that they should be arresting this woman. Of journalists for reporting the fucking news. This is how fascists take over. They go for the education, they go for the courts, they go for the journalists. Look at Hegseth attacking a Fox News reporter, mind you, just for asking hard questions.
Have certainty that all the highly enriched uranium was inside the Fordo Mountain, or some of it, because there were satellite photos that showed more than a dozen trucks there 2 days in advance. Are you certain none of that highly enriched uranium was moved?
Of course, we're watching every single aspect, but Jennifer, you've been about the worst, the one who misrepresents the most intentionally. What the president said.
This is planting seeds for simply labeling anybody who asks a hard question as a fake news journalist.
I'm familiar.
I about the ventilation shafts on Saturday night. And in fact, I was the first to describe the B-2 bombers, the refueling, the entire mission with great accuracy. So I take issue with that.
I appreciate you acknowledging that this was the first the most successful mission based on operational security that this department has done since you've been here, and I appreciate that. So we're looking at all aspects of intelligence and making sure we have a sense of what was where.
It's unreal. And now we've got Pentagon leaders cite military tactics to show destruction from U.S. attacks on Iran. This is the Associated Press. Pentagon leaders laid out new details Thursday about military tactics and explosives to bolster their argument that U.S. attacks had destroyed key Iranian nuclear facilities. But little more emerged on how far back the bombing had set Tehran's atomic program. In a rare Pentagon news briefing, Defense Secretary and alcoholic Pete Hegseth, General Dan Kane, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, worked to shift the debate from whether the nuclear targets were obliterated, as President Donald Trump has said, to what they portrayed as the heroism of the strikes, as well as the extensive research and preparation that went into carrying them out. You want to call it destroyed, you want to call it defeated, you want to call it obliterated, choose your word. This was an historically successful attack, Hegseth said in an often combative session with the reporters. So they have no proof that they destroyed this facility. The Iranians claim they didn't destroy this facility. The radiation levels did not increase, which would have happened if they destroyed the enriched uranium in this facility. This was a complete and total failure. And you don't need to take my fucking word for it. Even the goddamn BBC fucking agrees. The U.S. gained nothing from the strikes, Iran's supreme leader says. Ayatollah says that, but we genuinely didn't. You got to think about it. What was the goal? There was a couple of goals, right? For America, it was destroy the chances of a nuclear Iran. Well, that was a failure. Even the fucking Pete Hegseth, the Department of Defense, says we pushed their program back by a couple of years. That's not destroying their nuclear program. That's pausing it. So you're admitting this is going to be a forever war, and we're going to go back in there in a couple of years, bomb them again, assassinate their nuclear scientists again. So you're admitting this is a forever war. Okay? So that failure. We didn't assassinate Ayatollah Khamenei, who fucking Trump said that on Twitter. He's like, we know exactly where he is. We're not going to kill him yet. The Israelis tried to assassinate. You guys said you wanted regime change. No regime change. So it was a complete fucking failure. What was the point? What was the point? Ayatollah Khamenei said the strikes did not accomplish anything significant, end quote, to disrupt Iran's nuclear program, and has described the retaliation against an American airbase in Qatar as dealing a heavy blow. It came as Washington doubled down on its assessments that the strikes had severely undermined Iran's nuclear ambitions. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said intelligence gathered by the U.S. and Israel indicated the operation, quote, significantly damaged the nuclear program, setting it back by years. So here's the thing. I said this earlier. I'm going to say it again. If I let you borrow my car, and then you call me and you go, bro, I'm so sorry. Your car has been completely and totally obliterated. I'm going to go, what? So it's gone? It's gone. It's totaled. It's vaporized. It's gone. And then I show up. And it looks like, oh, there's my car. And you go, I told you, man, it's been significantly damaged. What? Significantly damaged? You said it was completely and totally obliterated. What the fuck? Those are two completely different things. Vastly different fucking things. And also, setting it back a couple of years, brother, I was just saying, so what, we're going to keep this going? That is going to make them want a nuclear weapon. As I've said numerous times, we don't bomb Russia, we don't bomb North Korea, we don't bomb China. Why? Because they have nuclear weapons. Because if we bomb them, well, that's running a risk of starting a nuclear war, right? So you're admitting that you will just continue to bomb Iran for years, forever, every time they try to make a nuclear weapon, and there's no way out of this for them. Brother, you're going to make them want a nuclear weapon even more, because then they can hold it up and go, all right, we got a nuclear weapon, now you got to fucking stop bombing us, just like you don't bomb everybody else, and now you got a nuclear Iran. This is unironically, you are going to cause the problem that you are trying to prevent. Unbelievable. Previously, U.S. President Donald Trump said the strikes against 3 key nuclear sites inside Iran, quote, totally obliterated them, and has responded furiously to reports citing unnamed American officials suggesting the damage may have been less extensive than anticipated. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Dude, our government is run by a whole bunch of fucking petulant children. My bad. Literally, he's a petulant child. That is what Donald Trump is. He like stamps his fucking fist and goes, you don't write good stories about me. Stop writing bad stories about me. Like, it's so fucking crazy. And these fucking bootlicking chuds spoon feed it. They love it. They love it. They fully support it. It's unreal. All right, listen. If you're watching this live, you can stay. We're going to keep on going. If you're watching this pre-recorded on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It costs you nothing and it helps me immensely. Also, this is real independent journalism. So if you want to help me out financially, you can become a patron, you can become a member, you can buy merch, you can donate to the channel, and you can use a 40% off discount code for the Ground News Vantage subscription located in the description below. Other than that, do me one last favor. Click that video right over there. I promise you, it's a banger, and I know bangers. All right, that's a banger, I said. That's a banger, I said. That's a banger. That's a banger. That's a banger, I said. All right, let's get angry Trump yelling to arrest journalists. All right, Pete Hegseth. This morning. I want him real angry. There's got to be something of Pete Hegseth. Thummy time. I want. Yeah, there it is. That's a Pete that I want. Give me that. 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 This is episode 164. Caroline Levitt press briefing. Why is it in caps? Bro, can't even make a sentence. Cole, do you at least understand the fact that you are like here hate watching somebody, like critiquing even the spelling? Like, do you understand how parasocial and pathetic that is? Genuinely, you have to see you have to be able to recognize how pathetic that is. I hate a lot of people. I hate Charlie Kirk, Ben Shapiro, whatever. Could you imagine how pathetic it would be if I sat in his chat for an hour? Brother, that is embarrassing. That is so embarrassing, dog. Anyway. We need her angry. This was her today. Yeah, we'll get that one. Okay. I want the real angry Trump. I've got a real angry Trump somewhere. There it is. Dude, I love how, like, they just look fucking nuts. They all look so fucking nuts. I come here to rage bait a bunch of man children. That's my point, dog. That's what I'm saying. Your existence is really embarrassing. How old are you? Do you have, like, a family? Because that's, like, the fact that you're willingly admitting that is pathetic. You have a family? I gotta get me in there. Excuse me. It's a kid, Chris? Oh, I didn't... Wait. Is it a kid? Did he say how old he is? What'd he say? Did he answer? Hey, bro, I got a wife and a kid. You jealous? No, I didn't vote for Trump, and don't defend him, so don't just start screaming MAGA into the mic. Then what are you doing here, bro? Why do you hate me so much? Why do you hate me so much, dude? It's a bit strange, isn't it? It's a child seeking attention. Just ignore it. This is actually getting a little bit embarrassing. He's LARPing. Every once in a while I'm making thumbnails, it's nice to have a lolcow for a little bit. You could play with him for a second. Maybe I should get me out of there. I think this thumbnail's too loud. We'll just go with that. I don't need to be in all of them, right? Or do I? Do I need to be in all of them? His sleeper cells are a fairy tale. I got it. Wait, you think there's Iranian sleeper cells here in the United States, actually? You actually think that, bro? Oh my god, dude. We're so fucking cooked, bro. Dude, these fucking people will literally fall for anything. You're so stupid. Let me turn off my camera. You tell me what's better. White or red? Here's white. Here's red. Why is the J so strange, right? Am I the only one who thinks that J looks weird? What the fuck is up with that J? Am I crazy? The J is a different font? No, it isn't. No, it's all the same font. That'll do. All right, let's get this fucker uploaded. Any Muslims in the U.S.? No, not one. Of course there is, dude. You out of your fucking mind? How long do you think the stream is going to continue going? Oh, I'm not sure. I never really know. I kind of wing it. That's the thing about my life. It's improvised. The name is Mamdani. Mamdani. Trump declares war on the First Amendment. Freedom of the press is in danger. Is in peril? Peril. Okay. First, it's the universities, then it's the courts, and then it's the press. Wake up. Let's get that description in there. This is going into the Valenti VOD. It is not made for kids. There is no AI in this video. Yes, I want it monetized. Sensitive events dealing with war, death, and tragedy in a non-exploitative manner. Add an end screen, subscribe, and most recent upload. Copyright check. Title check. Trump declares war on the First Amendment. Freedom of the press is in peril. Let's see how the video starts. Hey, how are you? Dude, the 4 seconds works perfectly. 4 seconds every time. Okay, public and publish. All right, that video's up. Excuse me. You guys want to dance?
Bring the flavor to the fish, bring the flavor to the rice. Who's the number one spice? Who's the number one spice? Bring the flavor to the fish, bring the flavor to the rice. Who's the number one spice?
My face isn't in the thumbnail, it's too loud.
Who's the number one spice?
No lines, Sija Kolima, Ninga Frido, no Tolanya Kolumba. This is the number one spice. It's in the morning, I roll like a dice. Mama told me this once and I'm telling it twice. Panabo Mochivina, Wavede, so wise. He should be yet to let on the Kumasi. A woman, you're yet cover Elugasi. It's gonna be reminiscing like Lilian Babasi. Oyagala Kufumbana Yeto in a Kabasi.
I love the berry, I love the nice. Some me I hate water, but I love spice. So by ICB, I score him with a voice. Say, Sebo don't pass rules out the Gambe. Sirina Sente, Bossy Munyambe. Hey, Uno Munyo Guvamo West from our lake, Catway. Bossy,
Bro, I can't fucking believe that is gonna be the fucking mayor of New York City if we actually pull through. That our boy Young Cardamom may end up the fucking mayor of New York City. Could you fucking believe that? Can you believe that shit? The fuck is this? That's fucking Mamdani back when he used to go by Young Cardamom, bro. I fucking love him so much, dude. I love him so much. It's inexplainable. I can't explain it. People are trying to get Trump to use the Communist Control Act of 1954 to not let Zoran become mayor and deport him. The what? The Communist Control Act of 1954? What the fuck is that? Communist Control Act of 1954 is an American law signed by President Dwight D. Eisenhower that outlawed the Communist Party USA and criminalized membership in or support of the party for communist action organizations. First of all, he's a socialist. This is why I always tell you guys, socialism and communism are completely different things. But second of all, I swear to fucking God, the way I would get radicalized if they fucking tried to deport Zoran. The speed in which we would be mobilized is insane. We really are in the third Red Scare. Jesus Christ. Where are you seeing that people are talking to that? Go to the news when you look that up? Okay. Oh my God. The result triggered strong responses, including a demand from the New York Young Republican Club to revoke his U.S. citizenship and deport him. Call to action from the NYYRC. The radical Zoran Mamdani cannot be allowed to destroy our beloved city of New York. The Communist Control Act lets President Trump revoke his citizenship and promptly deport him. I'm not going to say it. I'm thinking it. Read my eyes. You gotta be kidding me. Oh my God, bro. Why are they... The NYYRC claims Mamdani is a communist and wants the federal government to act under the Communist Control Act to revoke his citizenship and deport him. Yes, Mamdani became a naturalized citizen in 2018. He meets the legal requirements to run for office. Bro, if they deport him with this act, that is a complete and total threat of violence to every single person who disagrees with the Trump regime. If they deport him, that is a threat of violence to all Americans. That's fucked. HCon Res 9. Denouncing the horrors of socialism. The concurrent resolution denounces socialism and imposes the implementation of socialist policies in the United States. These people are so afraid of us. They're so afraid. Fuck is this?
Yeah, I know, baby. I just wanted a cool Uber. That's it. I just wanted a cool Uber. Call the cops or refund my money.
Dude, get out. It's her car.
This is cell phone video of the moment an Uber comfort ride turned into chaos. The driver, Miracle Smith, and the passenger, Tabitha Turner, can be seen going at it when all of a sudden, Smith sprays Turner with mace, forcing her to drop her phone.
I just wanted to go home.
Shut the fuck up. Don't you fucking cry, bitch. Someone tells you to get out of their car, you get out of their fucking car.
After work and see my daughter.
That's Turner.
Always yeah, play the fucking victim.
He says she wasn't only physically assaulted, but is also receiving backlash after Smith took to social media about the incident.
They flooded my social media with threats.
They flooded my social media with threats. They flooded my social media with threats.
They've reached out to people I work with.
They've reached out to people I work with.
But as the saying goes, it takes two to tango.
Yeah, bitch!
This video shows just that.
When people watch this video, when some people do, they're going to say, listen, you were asked to get out of the car multiple times.
Uh-huh.
You also called her an R slur. You're not so much a victim, but an instigator. Sure. How do you respond to that?
There is no one who's gonna watch this video.
Oh yeah, don't answer, bitch. Have your fucking lawyer answer.
And come away from it believing that my client instigated this thing in any way.
Really? I think every single person in my chat believes your client instigated this. Hey, can we get some hands? Who agrees that she fucking instigated this? Dude, I fucking hate how glib lawyers are. How smug they are.
Are you in a car if you feel threatened?
This is what I do for work. This is how I'm paying to go to school.
Yeah, dude. And like, this fucking reporter is gonna get this woman fired.
Like, I would never attack any passenger that has ever gotten in my car. I just wanted her to get out of the car.
That's Smith. And she says she sprayed Turner with mace in self-defense because she saw Turner pull out some sort of sharp object. Next thing you know, Smith says it to her out of the car, and Turner begins to attack her.
So the bite mark is like right here, right up.
The bite mark? Throw this bitch in, Seacott!
Above the end of my jawline on this side. And then for my eye, I have stitches here. And then the blood vessels in my eye.
And you've got the audacity, reporter, to... Let's go back.
I just wanted to go home after work and see my daughter.
That's Turner.
Oh my God, bro. Ew. Fucking ew. That is pathetic shit.
I have stitches here. And then the blood vessels in my eye are bruised and healing currently.
Needless to say, the police were called, and since then, a warrant has been issued for Smith's arrest. She tells me she plans on turning herself in Wednesday night.
For whose arrest?
In Atlanta.
Wait. Which one is Smith? Which one is Smith? Hold on.
I instigated this thing in any way.
Why are you in a car if you feel threatened?
This is what I do for work. This is how I'm paying to go to school. Like, I would never attack any passenger that has ever gotten in my car. I just wanted her to get out of the car.
That's Smith.
No shot, bro. There's a warrant for the driver's arrest now. You've got to be fucking kidding, dude. Dude, the Justice Department is fucking ludicrous. It is ludicrous. It is ludicrous.
Listen to what Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth had to say about the damage caused by the U.S. strikes on Iran. You've got to watch this.
This is a new one from the UN, the United Nations. No friend of the United States, or certainly Israel often. Here's the head of the UN Atomic Energy Agency this morning, Rafael Grossi. U.S. and Israeli strikes caused enormous damage to Iran's nuclear sites. Don't take my word for it. How about the IDF's chief of staff? I can say here that the assessment is that we significantly damaged the nuclear program, setting it back by years. I repeat, years. The Iranian foreign minister, the spokesman, our nuclear installations have been badly damaged, that's for sure. I'm sure that's an understatement.
All right. A member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee is Senator Pete Ricketts, and he joins me now. Mr. Senator, Trump says the U.S. would strike again if Iran
shiny-ass
tried to
head,
rebuild
brother.
their nuclear program. Would you support that?
It is absolutely clear that we cannot allow Iran to have an enrichment program or a nuclear weapon. And what we hope to do through diplomatic and economic pressure is convince them that they need to give that up. But if they do not do that, then the president has to keep all options on the table to be able to make sure Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. They chant death to America, death to Israel. They threaten to wipe Israel off the face of the earth. This cannot be allowed to happen. So I think the president took the right step a few days ago, and if he has to take it again, he has to take it again.
Fair enough. Let's move on to another subject. Politico reports that multiple Republican senators have told leader John Thune that they are not ready to take up the big, beautiful bill. Here's my question, Mr. Senator. Are Republicans really ready to say no to this president after his success at NATO?
No, they're not. I fully expect every single Republican will fall in line except for Adam Kinzinger. I think he'll be the last Republican standing.
And the ceasefire deal, will you really just turn him down?
Well, I got to tell you, I am very supportive of what the president is trying to accomplish with this bill and what our leadership is trying to accomplish. So it's a work in progress right now. It's a negotiation, and I look forward to seeing where we end up on this. But the policies we're putting in place here to make sure these tax cuts stay permanent.
Kinzinger's not serving in Congress right now, is he? I'm pretty sure he is. Maybe I'm wrong. No, he's not. But he is, I think, running for president.
That we don't hit the American people with a $4 trillion tax cut, which I believe would put us into a deep recession. This is a no, we can't fail at this. We got to get this thing done.
But patience is running thin here. I mean, every day I interview people in Congress and I say, we're going to get it done, we're going to get it done. And the answer is always the same. Oh, yes, we must get it done. We must get it done because we don't want a big tax increase. You know, it's getting close to the deadline and patience is running out. And I think it'll run out with President Trump, too.
Well, I think the president was very smart by saying a deadline. He knows Washington well enough that nothing around here happens without a deadline. And so that's what's really concentrating folks' attention right now is trying to get to 51 votes in the Senate so that we can send this back over to the House. And then, of course, the House will have to vote on it as well. So we've got some work to do here, but it's an...
I got to take a fat shit. No, Cape Flex, he won the Democratic nomination. It means that he is either... New York City has always had a Democrat mayor, okay? Either New York City is going to vote in another Democrat, and it will be Zoran, or they will hand over the city to the Republican Party. He is the nominee for the Democratic Party. Ugh. Zine says Tehran's getting bombed. Who the fuck is Zine? 30 minutes ago? What's your source? What's your source? The all-seeing eye. Put this kid in the corner for 60 seconds. Just for 60 seconds. Well, that's not today. I can't find it. You didn't ban him, right? You just put him in the corner for 60 seconds? My bad. No, it's fine, dude. So I put you in the corner for 60 seconds just so you can fucking feel like a doofus for a second. Yeah, there's nothing about this. All right. I'm gonna end the stream. Go take a shit. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Thank you very much for tuning into the Valenti VOD, or the Valenti broadcast. I'm your perfect and humble leader, Chris Valenti. Thank you. Love you. Bye, guys. Have a good one. I do have a bidet. Bye, guys. Bye. 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 Bye.